Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Khalil Cleghorn.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
I'm Joey Evans.
Today we're taking a look at Moon River right here. This is the latest in the Kingdomino family of games. They've got a rolling right. They have a more advanced one. They've got one about prehistory. And now, cowboys and cows and corn.
Don't forget the corn.
You
beavers.
cannot forget the corn. There's beavers in there too, all sorts of things. So it's a tile laying game. You draft the tiles, you lay them, but now the main gimmick here is that we've taken those dominoes, chopped them down the middle. You can make your own.
They're puzzle-ominos is what they are.
That's what they are, puzzle ominoes.
I like that.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the overview, and we'll be right back. So here we're taking a look at a game already in progress for 3 players. Each player has a starting board over here. And then each player is going to be collecting tile halves, or domino halves, and putting together entire dominoes and placing them out in front of them. The game is going to be over when all of the players have finished running out the tiles. They can build at most a 5x5 grid here, with this one piece cutting into that 5x5 grid. And then we will score victory points at the end. You're going to be scoring each of your land types, every group, times the cows within that group. And you'll be writing down that score. You're also going to be getting 1 victory point for each gold nugget that you see here, for each beaver, and you'll see a couple of them there, and then for corn as well. And you can see some corn out here on these tiles. The thing about corn is there's more of it, and so each one is worth 1 victory point, but the cows cannot traverse through the cornfields in the game, and that will be mechanically relevant in just a little bit here. You've also got some multipliers over here for some ranchers you might hire, and then whoever has the highest score, of course, like I said, is the winner of the game. So let's take a look at, like I explained, a game in progress already. The players are going to be drafting these tile halves and taking them into their supply, possibly putting 2 halves together and deploying it onto the landscape. So we've got here a game for 3. No one took this tile last time, so we can let that go. And then from the highest one, which has the lowest number on the back, to the one at the bottom here, so lowest number to highest numbered, the players are going to remove their worker. They're going to take the tile. They're going to bring it over, and then they may put 2 together and deploy that out. The rules here are simply that you may introduce anything next to one of these 3 bridges, but if you want to do put a tile out that touches something else, then one of the land types must be the same type, meaning this is an illegal play. It would have to be this same light blue, but I could introduce this right here. I could do it like this even. I could put it over here as well. And as you can see, the 2 halves do not need to match, but they could. So I might put these 2 together and deploy them right there, get a lot of points for the corn. Once I'm done taking a tile, possibly putting 2 halves together and deploying it, I'm going to select my upcoming tile. And you'll see some features on these. So this one over here shows a skull. That means when it comes into play, if there are cows in the region this is touching of the same land type, it will eliminate one of those cows, hurting your multiplier. This one over here has space for one of these characters. I'll come back to them, but you would immediately fill it. And then this lets you know that when you take that, you'll put 2 cows on it. If you happen to be introducing both of these rules at the same time, then you will be putting in the cows first, and then you eliminate one of the cows. The red player will now go ahead and select a new tile they want, so I'm going to take that one, and then it's the purple player's turn. Purple is over here. They're going to take this tile, and they could, if they want to, not even deploy it now. As long as you have room to keep it, you can keep it. You have room for 3 of these halves, so they might just hang on to it. And then they'll claim a new upcoming tile. They'll take that one, and now the tan player will take this. They're going to keep that, let's say, and they will claim this one. Now we make a selection for the next round. We'll take tiles from the top of the stack and put them into play with, as I said, the higher numbers towards the bottom and the lower number towards the top here. If you have a tie, the one deployed first gets to be ahead of the other one. And then this one there will reveal all of these, and now the players will do the same thing, moving over to this line. This one wasn't taken. In a 3-player game, that will happen. So you can just get rid of that. And now the 10-player will go. So they are going to move from this one, and they will move over to, let's say, this one here. They'll take this tile. They will connect it with this one and introduce a new land type there with 1 gold nugget. The purple player will go. They are going to move over to here. They're going to take this one. They'll connect it with that, and they will grow this area. Now, this is legal, like this, for example, because they are touching one land type that matches, and they just went from a score of 2 cows times 1 land to a score of 2 cows times 3 for the space. So this is worth 6 victory points right now. But above and beyond that, they now have a space for a new character. So you go over here and you claim one of these characters. The characters will all do one of 2 basic things, all right? They can either introduce a new scoring opportunity, and that's what all these blue ones are. For example, +1 point per gold nugget, +1 point per beaver, +1 per corn for these 2 fellas here. Or the red ones, which are that you will be able to target another player and steal one of their cows as long as it's unprotected. All right. So let's say this player, for example, chooses to do this. They could target this cow over here, which is unprotected, and they'll take it and place it on that spot. How is the cow protected? Well, if there's any ranchers, such as this one here, in that grouping, it can no longer be taken. Now, the other option the players have when they take any one of these characters is to take it, flip it over, and place it with this rancher on the back. And what this does is allow you to move your cows around. You get a certain number of movement points, and you can distribute the cows as you wish. You could have them traverse through any land type except for corn, and you want to spread them out because at the end of the game, you can only have 1 cow per half domino here. If these 2 were still together at the end of the game, you eliminate one before you do your final scoring. So perhaps this player will do that, all right? And now we have the final player over here, red, or I'm going to go over here. I'm going to take this one. I will connect it with this half, and maybe I'll do that, introducing some new cows here. 2 there, and 1 here. And I get a new character. This does not get replenished, by the way, until we've all taken our turns, meaning whoever's earlier in turn order does get an advantage that way. I'm going to go ahead and say I am going to score bonuses for corn because I'm certainly invested in that. And with that done, we once again reveal 4 tiles and do it 1 more time. The tiles will run out, indicating the end of the game, and then we can score all of our sections. That's pretty much the game. The only other limitation, like I said, that I want to mention to make sure you understand is you cannot go outside of these parameters here, and you can go at most 5 from the base here. So it can be 5 by 5 with this one cutting into that 5 by 5 structure. So there you go. That's how the game works. Let's go ahead and go back up top. All right, there we go. So Kingdomino and all the Kingdomino games, I tend to like those games, though I do find them a little simple, and I think the replayability is normally a little on the weaker side.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys think about those, the rest of the games in the family.
To me, the hook is the drafting, right? I mean, they're all going to have some type of domino placement. It was in the name originally, not in this one. And also, shockingly, no moons in this game. I have a little beef with that, but I will not let it affect my final score. Right. The drafting, right? The turn order thing to me is a great little hook, and they've obviously been able to build a whole family of games around that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've played, of the family or the series, I've only played the Origins one. And I mean, I find it fine. You know, it's not typically my style of game, you know, with its like really kind of abstracted theme and stuff like that. But in comparison of the 2, I really like the puzzles in this of not just what tile you're drafting, because it is all about the drafting, like Mike said, but also what am I taking now, setting myself up for next turn, hoping for, because I don't want to put myself in a position where I have to throw a tile away and can't place.
Right.
You know, and so I do like that little bit of extra layer of decision making.
Yeah.
And that's where I was. I'm fine with the Kingdomino. I played Kingdomino, I think, and Queendomino. I've never played Origin, but I was fine. I like this better. I think I like more of the depth and things.
I think I've played them all except the children's one. Dragon Domino or something like that, whatever the children's one is. So I've played them all. They're generally 7s and 8s is kind of where I'm at. Origins is my favorite one. Not counting this, Origins was my favorite one, just because you could play at different levels. Not counting this one, I said, so I think it's okay. You'll survive it.
I don't know. I will.
So, but we'll talk about this one and now. So I do like that thing of putting the two halves together. I think it is an interesting gimmick.
I do too.
And I think it works well. When I first read it, I thought, is this a gimmick for gimmick's sake?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this really going to change anything? You know what? It does. It absolutely lets me take a half tile I would not legally be able to place right now and then draft the other half and allow me to sneak in a half I couldn't have played.
Right.
I really like that. I think that's a great idea.
I also want to shout out for the components as well, because when you're when you're looking at it and thinking, is this going to be gimmicky? I was also thinking, is it going to be fiddly?
Yeah.
How well are these going to fit together? What's it going to look like on the board? It works really well. I think that they gave enough room in the actual puzzle piece cut that it goes together really easy and smooth. I never fiddled with it.
Yeah.
I never had to force it. I never couldn't get them apart. It was a really, really smooth process. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised with that, because I expected a lot more fiddliness out of that.
And wear and tear. If they go together tight, you're like, oh, gosh.
But I think you could say that about pretty much
Yeah.
all of the Kingdomino family of games that Blue Orange has done. The price
Yes.
for the quality of the components you get is pretty good. It really is. I don't really have any complaints about the components in any of these games. Now, I haven't played the roll and write, but otherwise.
It's very good also. Yeah, it's got nice components as well. The theme switch here is also another big one, whereas before they were sort of medieval themed. You had the prehistory theme. Now we go to this Western theme with cows and corn and cowboys, that idea of like the herders, I guess, and all of those abilities. And tied to that, I'll just throw that in here now, the game's a little meaner, too, than previous Kingdomino games, right?
A lot.
They bundled in with the, I'm guessing, for French designers, sort of in their head, the Old West comes bundled with some, like, take that and some meanness.
Some cattle wranglers and things like that.
Some sort of like, aha, I got your stuff, I took your cow. So there's some of that in here. I didn't mind it. I thought it played really well, actually. It doesn't feel mean-spirited.
I think it feels obvious when you have those moments, because that's not my play style at all. But it's like there are those moments where you stop and you look and you count and you're like, okay, well, that's 6 points that you have there. That's 4 points. Clearly, I'm taking here. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like you're ganging up on somebody. It's obvious moves, and it's also so minor. You have multiple opportunities to recover from it. I think
that's true.
You know?
Yeah, it doesn't feel arbitrary, and there is some mitigation to that. Where every time you're taking one of those characters, whether it's a cowboy that you use for movement or a character that you use for its power, it protects them. And so, I've never felt like this was a game where it felt mean-spirited. There's a little bit of that, aha, you have to at least consider it, right? And I think that's what it should be.
It's something to be aware of, but it's not mean-spirited. No. It's just, you might have your things taken away. You need to, and there's that maneuvering the cows and doubling down on scoring for certain things. So you need to be aware of that. Anything else? As far as the game itself goes, is very similar in spirit anyway to Kingdomino, to actually Origins with the tokens, but you give it that a little bit of that conflict and the half tiles, and it really is its own thing.
Yep.
I'm ready to come down on some scores if you guys are.
I am too. Make it happen.
Score it.
Go ahead, let's go this way, because I'm least interested in Joey's, so I'll leave him for last.
It makes sense.
He needs time
You
to
could
figure it out.
Give a little pause so you can just cut his completely out.
Done.
I agree.
So, Moon River is a game that we actually talked about this a little bit after one of the games we played, where we were talking about the complexity of it and where does it lie in the family of games, and where maybe Queendomino was a little bit of a misstep, because I don't play these style of games and expect something that is like overly analytical. And
Right.
you know, this is similar, I feel like, in weight to Kingdomino Origins, where the system is very simple. It's very easy to teach. Many of the rules are intuitive, you know, as far as especially the placement rules. But it has more going on than Kingdomino with not a lot more rules. So to me, this lives more in a Kingdomino Origins space. Which theme do you prefer? Which kind of do you like the puzzle piece idea? And I do. So I like it. I'm giving it a 7.5. It's really actually could go to an 8. You know, if it continues to hold up, because you mentioned replayability can be an issue.
It is.
In any of these games. But it's a high-end 7.5 for me.
Got it. I'm coming in at a 7.5 as well. I found, again, these aren't typically my style of games. It's abstract. I want more theme, that rich experience, you know. But I will say, with repeated plays, this game has actually grown on me, which is surprising, especially for this style of game. At first, I didn't really care for the circles, like the cowboys and your herders that you're taking. I was like, it just seemed like one extra thing, you know. But what I found as that with multiple plays was I do like the idea of the cow movement. It's like, oh, okay, so that's just more my play style. I just turn them over and I really try to maneuver my cows well and make sure that I optimize that scoring. So I like that flexibility that it brings in having a little bit of different play styles with it. So I enjoy it. I'd recommend it if you like these type of games. If you don't, like me, it's one that's still perfectly fine, you know, happy to play. I recommend it, and if you wanted to play with me, I would absolutely, play it. So 7.5 for me.
I'm gonna come in slightly higher than for the higher end of the Kingdomino games for me. So I'm giving it half a point more than I did, say, Origins and the ones I really like from the line. So I'm giving it an 8.5. I do like everything that was changed from previous iterations, I thought was a change for the better. 3 starting locations as opposed to that tile that you grow from.
Right.
Okay, which can get kind of nasty and blocked. You know what I mean? I like that. I like the limitations, the side-to-side sort of growth. 2-player variant in this is 5, but then by 10.
Oh, wow.
And I like that.
Yeah.
You use all the tiles, so you have a longer land, basically. I like that. I'd like the tiles with the characters that give you extra scoring or take something, or you flip them over. They're always useful.
Yes.
Right.
Flip them over, move your cows, put them in the best scoring positions. I like that they protect your cows.
I like that.
So you can also shut down things being stolen from you depending on where you put that. I like the sequencing of things where you have a tile that might kill a cow. Well, just introduce that one first, sit on the other one for a while, and then add a cow. Because it only works in that sequence. I really like that. So, yeah, I think for me, this was a few different tweaks that add up to a slightly better game. And that's really all I needed. And plus, I like the Western theme.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
See, I think for me, that's a level of separation. I'm like, I don't care.
yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
8.5.
Yeah. I'm actually coming to 8.5 as well, mainly because I like the different synergy between the strategies on there, because if you lose, you're like, well, you know what? The corn is going to be better. But if these cards don't come out like you want them to, then there's also, it's not a complex game, but the decisions are fun because you might bring a tile that you want to play later, but then later you may be forced to kind of play a tile you don't want to, and you're like, man, I can't use it for scoring, but it could be negative if I hold on to it too long. And I really like that give and take, you know, because towards the end of the game, your decisions start to pivot. And then do you want to use the circle to actually do a cowboy to move the cows? Are they going to make it over? There's a lot that goes into it. I think there's a lot more depth on this than the Kingdominos I played, and that's why I would definitely play this over any of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go, folks. That is Moon River, 8.5 being the highest score. That's a seal of excellence. So Joey and I think it is indeed excellent.
Howdy.
These two don't know what they're talking about.
Nope, no clue.
Look, maybe if I got corn more often, then I'd be, at a higher score.
Indiana has
The
no
corn
corn.
always gets taken from me.
That's on you, Mike.
That
They
is.
dangle in front of me.
Dangle the corn.
Yeah. Corn in a stick. It's a well-known phrase.
stick,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, that's a carrot. Never mind. All right, folks, that's going to do it. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Camilla.
I'm Mike Licio.
I'm Joey Evans.
Don't forget the corn.
It's on the stick.